I don't know. I said it was outside when the pain came, but this is what I like to. Since I was outside, like I don't know what it was, but this is what actually came to my mind. We were talking about the First World War. There's something that out there in academia, particularly, that they don't seem to know, but like it's something I always knew because of my grandfather, but also like say Chomsky talks about. Is he actually Chomsky doesn't talk about? Whatever. This is the point. You could put common sense and put the piece together. They teach like in the colleges, like they teach the book 1984, and it's like well known that there's a book called 1984, and it was seemed that like people are made to think that that book was like that George Orwell he sort of he wrote a book about that was like about the future, and like that he saw that what we're living in this experience that's like 1984, and like this guy like knew he foresaw it or something. It's like they're like amazed, like oh, it really came true that we live in a world like this. Like he was writing about a science, something unreal, but like he somehow knew, and now we're in it. And the thing is, like that's not true. Like that's not true any more than it is that But also, no one reads Amish or Catalonia and all this stuff anyway. But that's not that. The thing is, he wrote that book, but when students read that, and I know for a fact because I was an English major, like the liberal like professors like love to wig him out like that as though that book predicted the future. That book he wrote because that's what was taking place then. In other words, with the rise, he lived during that time, the turn of World War One times when the public relations industry, the advertising industry merged with the political class, and that there was there were new forms of they became apparent that like there's the literature, Chomsky reports in the literature that the liberal intellectuals on both sides, England and here, perceived that like the public mind could be controlled with these new industries, that they had to do it, that the men of brains knew what was best, and that they could control the public mind. He was living during the time when that happened, when that came about, and wrote 1984. That was written in reflection of what was going on then. So the thing is, it's been like the way it is now, and it's just gotten more sophisticated, and now like it really is like they're putting people with this kind of media, and like that's almost like a schizophrenic reality that's become more sophisticated and more sick. How people don't know about reality, but no, 1984 was about the time period he was living in. It's a sort of that's where he got the idea for the book, and that's what it's about. What the war was like when he was writing it. I really resent like people me like find it annoying that like liberal professors and young professors love to like think they're opening students' minds by saying that that's like something that he predicted something that's happened recently. Then that is another way of like covering over the history that's not taught about our propaganda system. That it's the most sophisticated form of propaganda. That's why no one can compete with it. This goes the same for why, if you've been Chomsky always talks about it, but it's considered dangerous to have the book it's from. That Hitler says in Mein Kampf that he believed the reason that Germany lost the First World War. I think probably correct that there's simply no society can compete with Anglo-American propaganda because since World War One, unlike other societies, no state, like no government, can produce a kind of propaganda that in the United States has at its disposal an entire sophisticated public relations industry, movie industry, and entertainment industry and advertising industry at its disposal to use for political reasons. No state or government films could match that level of sophistication of political propaganda. That's our media system, and it's been developing since World War One, when Orwell wrote 1984. That information, I mean, Chomsky filled in the blanks, but also, like I heard in other places, like I said, it doesn't matter. They might put my grandfather from World War I, but the point is, like, that's mainly one of those things you're not allowed to know and that people are ignorant of that we'd like to put out if it's helpful in this chain of videos. That's how I interpreted the pain that happened in my leg when I was outside, and I didn't know what it was about, but that's what jumped to my mind to share.